Hello and welcome to an episode of the Thesis block. Haven't made one in a while, but I've been thinking of some stuff, so I actually made a video, but well, the video kind of didn't work as it should have. So it's quite dark in here. Let there be light, right? Okay. Well, there's a bit more at least. Some Christmas spirit here in my little room. So what to talk about? Well, the construct of the universe. Oh, well, it's my thesis or my thoughts. I'm just going to spit them out to the other side of reality. This is my reality. Video. Other side is you, other reality. But if you find it interesting, well, we'll see in a moment. It's gonna be a short video, since hopefully a short video, cause I'm just gonna, well, in the beginning, well, there was this. Most people now should have heard about the Mandela effect, right? The thing with the Mandela effect is there are so many things that doesn't really coincide with everyone's stories. Now, I don't know everything about the whole thing, but one thing that I have like thought about since a young age, or it is basically that I believed black holes to be transportation between galaxies, or not galaxies per se, more like universes. So it's even bigger than that. Okay, so it's for me it was the wormhole between spaces, and I also had this idea from a young age that the world, well, it's called now. I've been working up this thought as I've grown. So, but from the beginning, I was just telling people, or I was more or less thinking, well, this is one of many universes, and I never really took the whole to say Big Bang Theory Serious? Seriously. How can something start at point 0, expand forever, or implode forever, and never have a real beginning or end? Like, do you understand that? The concept of it started here from nothing. There was nothing at all, and it exploded and made what is now, basically. So, but I that theory, the Big Bang theory, never stuck to my heart. It wasn't, for me, it never was the full truth. So, and I also had my ideas about, I don't believe I have, I have this. Well, the world was like expanding, and it started out small and it expands and then goes back, like a rubber band. So there is an open theory about this. It's called bouncing universe, I think. But I always thought it was like this video is not gonna be short. I realize that now. Okay, so I've always thought that it would be an eternal motion. You understand? It's like expanding, but it's more or less like going in a strange motion at the same time. I can't. Oh, well, no. So what happens is that it goes on forever, and this motion goes on forever, expanding, going back to implosion at its height. It starts to implode, but it never goes back to ending the circuit. Well, it goes, kind of crashes into the minimum point of expansion implosion, so it kind of reaches its own time again, because and while it implodes and extend, this is for me kind of a consciousness thing. So when this point here is when everything changed. So we did go through that point, or we went past that point. Because we went past that point, we well, our consciousness couldn't handle the change of, so only those with high enough consciousness could move about to the next, or more likely the ones with the lowest just died. Well, we didn't physically die, just that consciousness. We're coming to that in a moment, because okay, so what I believe is that we have our avatar. Uh, it's the easiest name for it. This body is an avatar for our consciousness. But then divide reality with the avatar, and let's see, we can do it like this. Here's me, here's the reality, and here's the many other individuals in reality. We're all separated, and the only thing that connects us is reality. Reality is based upon the consciousness of the majority of people. So when it comes to this, is the basic part of this is the world. This is how I believe that we live, and how we perceive everything is through the medium of reality, which is the host system. If you take this in computer thingies, computer speech, or how I should put it, host and nodes, supercomputer, you have the host system and you have the nodes, the calculators. They don't save anything, they don't do anything, they just use the host system as a medium. Or the nodes are more or less the medium that calculates information, relays it back to the host system, so that the host system can utilize the information. The nodes are expansions of the host system. So see yourself as an expansion of reality. And while we have ourselves as an expansion, we also have separate realities. So we have the host reality, then we have the node reality, and no, not a node, node. Sorry, node reality. And node reality is basically what my consciousness builds up, makes me perceive my ideas and my, well, we'll take that in a moment. Okay, so if we have this you can perceive the host system as kind of anything. It's just the base for well, how should I say this? Okay, we take. No, I have to take this first. So you have this base. It's 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, blah blah, whatever you want it to be. At the same time, but the node is what projects its reality. So the host system is the helper and administrator, while you are what kind of a creation tool. Let's see. We have the Mandela effect. Many of the people in the Mandela effect society or I don't know, community, the Mandela effect community, more or less the Mandela affected slash quantum affected. I like to say quantum affected because Mandela is an effect of the quantum effect. Like, he's this. Why name something after an effect instead of what it probably is? So that's what I mean. But many of us have been talking about the possibility of multiple universes, like so, and many blame CERN for it. I have no idea why. Well, I can talk better about later on. But if you have, so I had a new idea of, or I don't have my idea of this system. I'm gonna tell you in the end. But to begin with, we, or many, have talked about the possibility of other dimensions. I would say plane of existences. So if you have one plane, you have the other planes up, stacked upon other. Then you have the individuals, which are interacting with the planes of existence, and this can be anything. Well, then we have the concept of time and space, where we are and when we are. And well, I don't really believe in time in the concept of the strictness, because well, it's relative to what I perceive and what you perceive. So a second for me could as easily be 3 seconds for you. And 13 hours for me could be 10 minutes for you. Time is relative. It's something that we believe in if believe in. So it doesn't really work like, well, there's so much going on in my head sometimes, so at least well, anyway, everything that happens now. There's no future and there's no past. None of it. It's happening at the same time, different events. set it as the depth of the layers instead. And it doesn't have to be chronological, because we, as the nodes, are the ones that counterbalance that thing by calculating it chronologically. So think of the problem or the world as an equation, and in an equation you can have the answer as the first question, the second question, or the answer, right? So take that as kind of the equation is now, and you are either the question or the answer. I don't know if you understood that, but yeah. So at the same time, it's not like it's only the reality that we perceive, that it has a long depth or a lot of planes of existence. It also is going in an eternal cycle of expansion and implosion, much like sound frequencies. And this goes on forever, and it's not only this world, it's all universes, all kinds of universes, all are built under this kind of cycle, or at least this one is, so we'll follow this one. So then we have because the planes are dimensions, right? And the depths is time. Or not time, it's locations. Now, you understand? Then we have the next problem, which was, I was thinking about it just a second ago. And that is multiple universes. That is basically copies upon copies upon copies of ourselves, of the reality, the host system. The host system needs copies to act as different calculations for different outcomes. Do you understand that? Hopefully you do. So then we have the nodes. We need nodes. We need nodes that do different things. So we copy the nodes. First off, we have all these nodes. We name them differently, and then we give them and then we take each and every name and we copy it if we could as easily say that this node is consciousness itself, and you divide the consciousness, or part of the consciousness, into finite or a specific number of times. It's like running it's like running simulations, and but running them over and over again, just by just flickering a little here and a little there. And why in the world would I ever use computer language to try and tell you how this world works? Why would I be so strange to talk about it that way? Well, I don't believe this is reality. I have a hard time actually understanding or even take in that this could be reality. More or less because the world is more or less mathematically correct in the phi ratio, or the Fibonacci sequence, or, well, strange, well, if everything was built out of chaos, which the Big Bang Theory implies, it would have been creation out of chaos. How can there be order out of chaos? Either there's chaos or there's order. There can't be chaos makes order. Order makes order, chaos makes chaos. This is something that we learn from young age, that if you do something wrong, you will obviously be met with the same measure of wrong. Karma. So this has been a big problem for me, as the whole Darwinian evolution theory. Yes, it's a theory, and I will go back to that theory over and over and over again. And no, I'm not a extremist Christian. I just believe I'm gonna come to that, certainly. But I'm not here to sell books or tell everyone about God, kind of. Anyway, the evolution theory, I don't I don't really see. If there were chaos, why are there if things if things, or if entities, creatures, etc. evolved from chaos. Then we would have, at least my brain have always been saying this anyway, that if we had that evolution, then we would then the ones, if we came from apes, I have a hard time believing that too, because there's still apes here. I believe something happened there and it's not natural. But and where was I? Evolution theory. Yeah, having chimpanzees and gorillas and monkeys and stuff like that still existing in their not so evolved state, and there's lots of creatures that haven't really evolved as much. Like we have what are they called? I'm gonna search for something now. Because this, where are they? Sorry, I'm gonna pause for this. Gonna take some time. Okay. So here I found it. Going over there. The horseshoe crab, and it's been around for 450 million years, and they are the descendants of trilobites. Trilobites are, well, I'm not going to search for them, but small and looks almost the same. But this is 450 million years. So how long have monkeys been around? Like, yeah, I'm not here to take that debate or discussion right now, or talk about that really. But if one creature is the horseshoe crab must be in its most perfect form then, since, well, chaos didn't really, well, get order through chaos. So chaos was not enough for them, so they found their own order, and they are divine. And, well, no, it doesn't work like that. Not for me anyway. I don't. I can see some things like small changes. The ears and nose never stop growing, and that's not really an evolutional thing. It's just, but you also have, well, I don't know how to put it, but we have, if you want to put learning into the same category as evolution, yeah, then evolution is a fact. But right now, they haven't really. Oh, just just stopping it there and getting back to the whole consciousness thing. So if you have the higher consciousness divided into finite calculations that live in their own realities. Um, then there are two things that can happen. Or rather, there's a lot of things that could happen, but if you take this as a computer program, you insert the calculator into the program so that you can use it or not use it, so you can interact with the reality. If there were to be a problem with the reality that you are currently in, then we could have it like this also. It could be because a calculation is never wrong, right or wrong. So it's just happening. You start out with the values and you get the answer. And if everyone's values goes to a specific or a lot of different answers, then if the host system isn't compliant with the result, then it could potentially crash on you, and that world would extinguish, vanish, and you would have the need to switch over to the other one. When it comes to computers, if your computer, or take a simple thing like a text document, you're sitting there, you're writing, and this text document is part of the whole system. So if the whole system is not working as it should, then the notepad will eventually not work as it should, right? So what goes on here, take me sitting writing something into the notepad, tra la 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 la, and there's a Microsoft 10, Windows 10 update telling you I need to reboot, and you're a bit lost in your thoughts, or I'm the example here, so I'm a bit lost in my thoughts, and I push that button, but I missed something. I missed to push save before pushing OK. So you understand there, but either I didn't save what I wrote at all, or I saved it in different events of time. So um, so when the computer starts up again, either I have a lot of text left or I don't have any text left. Is that order out of chaos, or is that chaos because of chaos? Chaos in here made chaos out there. You understand? So if we then take the realities, because if there's let's say that like take the Mandela effect problem. People like me and others have the memories that doesn't necessarily coincide with the ones that are right now. But that doesn't mean that this is or is not a new system either. Well, I'm getting there. In this example, at least, this is a new system, since an old node is used for another system instead. So you have consciousness. The consciousness switched over from that plane over to this plane, or this plane, not plane, because it just switched dimensions, systems. Not dimensions, dimensions was planes. Okay, so it switched universes. Okay, so the old consciousness switched to a newer body because the other body gave up because of the older system. So here's me going down to the old body, which was in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, something happened with Sagittarius. That body didn't work correctly and sent over the latest data to the new, or another copy of the body, and sent into the new system, or at least combined with another body into another system. So from multiple worlds, I have memories from one world, but I'm also a person that have solidly kind of lived right in front of a computer screen all my freaking life. So, or not all my freaking life, but I have lived by the computer screen since I was like 7, 8, or computer screen. It was the Nintendo 8-bit from the first start, and the Commodore Amiga 1200, and then it was the 886 Pentium 90, or it was no, not the 90, Pentium 60, then 90, then. Well, I'm not gonna. I believe that the technology that we are using here is copies of something that we actually use in the afterlife. Um, how should I put that? Okay, let's see. See this world and see every part of the consciousness as a route towards your higher self. So they are parts that needs to evolve. If they don't evolve, they die. And well, I kind of see it as to you have to let's see, you know, Nirvana, reincarnation stories from the Hinduism. It's more or less like you're reincarnating, and for every reincarnation you get a new body, and either you do or you do not remember the old life. If you if you well, when it comes to this, you evolve your consciousness, thereby combining every parts of you till you reach the top. When you reach the top, then you can be let free, kind of like nirvana, becoming your higher self. When people are talking about them becoming their higher self, they're not actually becoming their higher selves. They are taking part of their better behavior to that extent that they get closer to a new combine towards their higher self. You understand? So you start at the bottom, you are born, and you have your reality, your bubble of what is and what is not, with rules and morals and everything that happens around you, your own world that you use when you interact with the whole system later on, because you need your own experience to be able to interact with other people. I see this world more or less, or I see reality as a school. There has been a lot happening the last say 200 years. But how many times have that happened? Really? Can you even imagine this era have probably been before? Many times before. The whole thing with, I believe, the whole thing with Dejà Vú's is those are the situations where you combine with a higher self of yourself, or combine your yeah because I when I had my awakening, when I started to realize that the world isn't what we perceive it as, I started to have deja vus very, very often. Very often. And I've had parts like that all through my life. So it's not like, well, something happened to the old reality, or realities, because many believe things that are here were very different from the other one. But if you like install a game on a computer, some computers will let you know that it's not gonna work in the beginning. Some of them crash somewhere in between the start and end. You understand? So it could very well be the same thing with all the realities, or because the nodes are the simulations for the reality. That is why we can do stuff that others don't really perceive, because it's not part of the host system. It's just part of your node. So if you can see, like, say, auras, which is bioelectromagnetic fields, well, as you're not the majority of people in the reality, it will not be possible for everyone to see auras too. But if the majority of people are convinced that it's real and can see it, then everyone will be able to see it eventually, because even if we evolve, like, yeah, combine with more and more with our higher selves, we will be able to take part as co-creators of reality as we know it now. But I see this world as a school. I said it earlier. I've said it before, I think, that this world is a school, and I have an understanding to why it is like that. Have you noticed how fast things are happening here? Have you noticed how fast some things evolve? Like this? Say 20 years ago, it was a plastic block that could couldn't barely use a calculator, and now it's a computer in your pocket. Some of you are born with these kinds of models of computers, but many of us who have lived longer than the millenniums, we we have lived to see this evolve. And one of the best ways to evolve or get people to believe things are to actually get the information out to the masses, like say media. Say that I'm not gonna go into that right now because I have, well, no. Right now this is good because right now there's kind of problems with morality and stuff like that. Many uh, well, I've always had a misunderstanding of the people born in the 90s and after the millennium, and the only thing that I have believed in is that they have a really big lack of respect and morals, and it has been saddening me for a very long time. But I've also come to the conclusion that if you teach the masses what is right and what is wrong, then the masses will think that something that is wrong will be right. And right now, we have been taught a lot of things that aren't right at all. Like, some of the things in physics aren't really right. It can't describe the universe that we live in. I've had this notion that the reality that we live in is kind of like placebo. So what we believe in, so if we go back to the node theory, that I have my reality and you have your reality, and we all have our finite realities, and they combine for how everyone perceived the world. So if we take, for example, that I can see auras, I haven't been able to see auras since I was like 17, so but somewhere there I actually believed in myself that I could and would see auras. Then for some reason, when I saw the auras, I got mind blown, and the thing I said to myself is, this isn't real, and I fucking believed it. I believed that what I saw wasn't real because I hadn't seen it before, so it was so unreal that I couldn't comprehend it at the moment. That's why I haven't been able to see auras since. But now that I understand why and how it comes to be like that, I can actually understand that construct. This is actually quite well. If this video actually gets a popularity, then you also have to understand that you have to think further than just now. If someone says, well, take this um, you start up your morning by getting up or get getting out of bed, and you walk into the kitchen, you fix a cup of tea and you sit down and you feel relaxed, and it's so nice. And then you go out, and you think, well, today is a nice day, so I'm gonna take a walk. So you take a walk, and past you comes another person who happens to sneeze beside you, and you start thinking, oh, he sneezed, oh, he's sick. Not consciously, you're thinking this unconsciously. So what will happen later on when you actually when you think of it consciously, you will repeat it in your head like, oh my god, I can't be sick right now. You're afraid of being sick, and there's nothing to be afraid of. I've been sick one time this year. That is because I believe myself to not be sick. If someone sneezes near me, I'm not gonna be sick. That's how I believe it to be. But most people, they say that I have a bad um, immune system, and they get sick for nothing. Like this story, someone sneezes behind you or in front of you or something. Like taking that someone sneezed when you get past you, they sneeze backwards and the wind is going that way. It's kind of impossible for you to get sick. Still, you get sick because you believe that something else happened, and what happens, you switch to that reality or that iteration. No, I can't say that like that. What you do is you start making that reality that you are thinking of. You're going to make that a real thing, and you are going to get sick because you believe yourself. You believe that because well, you have the association of when somebody is sick near you and kind of sneezes or tells you that they are sick, and it's cont- uh, it could contaminate, or I'm not, I'm from Sweden, so well, so either you believe that you get sick because of the association of that situation, and you will get sick. If you don't believe that you are going to be sick because you don't think about it, unintentionally or intentionally, then you won't be sick. This is how I believe and perceive the world. And that is in my bubble. So it doesn't disturb your bubble at all. Because it's my ideal world. And even if it's so that I live in my own reality bubble that interacts with the whole collective, it's still somewhat well, if you don't believe that you can like feel other people's feelings, then you won't be able to feel other people's feelings. I feel other people's feelings, and a person that can feel other people's feelings is called an empath. So what an empath is doing is that it's the node that can connect with other nodes without using the reality as or it's using the either it's connecting directly with other node, or it's connecting to the other node through the reality, and I'm more or less more for that it's connecting through the collective and not consciousness to consciousness. It still needs, well, it doesn't really need anything, because if you take a computer, you can either connect it to another computer directly, like nodes and host system does. They use cables through and through everywhere. So either you have it like that, or you use a hub, switch, or router that gives out. A hub is a hub lets anyone that uses the most, or a hub divides the bandwidth. So if like this one uses the most of this bandwidth, this is the host bandwidth, this is for computers. If this sends out 200 megabytes and this uses 100, this uses 0, this uses 25, and this 25, then that's 50 left that could be used somewhere else. But this one is should same. Then we have the switch. The switch, 200 goes in, everyone gets 50, 50, 50, 50. If they don't use, if that one wants to use 200, go shit yourself. You're gonna use 50, cause that's what you have. Then you have a router, and the router gives you an address. Before, with the switch, you need to give it addresses manually. With the hub, you also need to give the computers manual addresses. The router fixes this automatically. And I can't remember why I made this correlation. Okay, so well, now we come to why is this system here? Well, it's it's quite mathematically correct. It's not like, oh, the natural world that we perceive here is that the lines are wobbly. No, the natural one is that they're straight. There, or there, or there, or there. It's straight. But they can still have... I'm not gonna go into that. But I believe as I've said, now it's the third time, and I've actually not talked about it. And that is, I believe this world to be a school, education. So all the rich people out there, if you see this video, we're not supposed to get out of here because we're supposed to learn something. If you can't take your time to actually learn what you're supposed to learn and then leave this place, jump from a bridge or something. No, don't do that. Please don't do that. But it gets it's not it's like people well I th I had this conversation with one person who says he's a god. Well, it's up to everyone to define themselves at as what they want to. If this person wants to have the pronoun God, well, let that person have the pronoun God. I need to think a bit before I actually could accept that yeah. But the thing is that in the discussion that I have had with this person, I came to two conclusions of what this world is, or it's or two conclusions to why it's like this. And one is that we're so freaking highly evolved that it would take you maybe 200 years to read up on history and math and physics and chemistry and all that, or even 1,000 years. Can you understand that? This is one of the easiest ways to actually teach people how the world works and get everyone to actually accept other people, because right now we live in a reality in which nodes who have their own reality, perceive their own reality, they, even if there's a lot of good and bad happening at the same in the host world, everything that the node thinks and believes in will be getting drawn to that node. So if the node thinks it's murders every Saturday, then it's gonna be murders every Saturday that is sent to that node. So the information that the node wants is what they will get to calculate. So if we have this school system, either it's because someone committed a crime, and I don't really believe that someone could commit a crime at all if they have a 10,000 year cycle of information, or 50,000 year cycle of information that happened to the point where civilization is right now, or at that period, event, time, something. So God, if we're gonna go into that, is more or less either, well, God is the creator of the system, the schooling system, or so, it's one of the creators at least. And then we have people like Jesus and people like Jesus and Buddha and Krishna and stuff like that. These are people that took part of the most of their higher selves. They were couldn't really say that. What's the definition of a god anyway? To be able to do stuff that others can't. The teachings of like Jesus and Krishna and Buddha and monks and the Tibetan monks and stuff like that is to get a connection to your higher self and learn as much as possible so that you can evolve as a human being to become the best version of yourself. That is what I believe. When you become the best version of yourself and start believing in yourself, you will be able to do stuff that you would never in your life believe could be possible. But first off, you can't just, well, I'm not gonna be aggressive about it. It's not like you're 10 and whoop whoop, I'm Superman. It's like for you to be Superman, you have to convince like the whole world that you are Superman. You understand? So that's not gonna work. But you can convince the world of, well, first off, you need to evolve yourself to be the best self, which means to nearly become your higher self. A giant energy, source energy, or somewhat. I don't know what to call it. I say source energy because I don't know. Some call it spirit, some say soul. So if you had the opportunity to actually like become a character in a real Matrix, don't wish anymore because you're already there. The only thing that you need to do is actually wake up. You need to wake up and you need to see everything around you. You need to more, learn as much as possible. The the religions that we have right now, they're a bit screwed up. But personally, I see it like it needs to be like that. We need to have this distorted view of the religion's holy scripture till the majority understands what is actually written there. Because if we had the information that we could hold written down with a language and words that are like 2,000-3,000 years ahead of us, how would we possibly be clear enough to understand what it is? We would actually just, well, how many here are interested in reading binary code? It's on and off. 8 zeros, or it's, well, I'm not going to go into it, but if we had a language that was more or less encrypted with binary code, hexacode, and say physics, mathematics, and why don't put in some astrology, call this a language, all this combined as a language, scramble it around, put it in a book. How many would try to read that and try to understand it? This is why the Bibles exist. The Bible, the Torah, the Quran, and I don't know the names for the is it Mahabharata? They are written in a way so that simple folks are able to understand it. They are written in a way so that they can be read by many, understood by many, in many different ways. That is why we have so many different, so many interpretations of what the texts say. So if you are not ready for is there, what the text is, or sorry, if you're not ready for I need to search for words, I don't like that. The content of the books, if you're not ready for what it holds, you will either laugh at it, believe in demons and angels, you will believe that a prophet will come, like Jesus or a Messiah, because most of the people that read these books do not understand everything they hold. They don't understand the spiritual meaning of it. They take it literally. Yeah. And yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that too much. I don't want to anger people, because everyone has their own bubble, their own beliefs. Their bubble is their reality that they believe in, and we have the whole collective bubble. That is the collective reality. That's what I want to say anyway. I believe that we are still in our parents' wombs, waiting to be released to the world, and we are living here. For as much time that we need to be able to be born into what some people call nirvana or heaven. They talk about this very beautiful place where everyone lives forever, stuff like that. What if the real world actually was the same construct, and this reality is just a copy of their reality? We need to learn how the real world works to be able to get out of here. And being warmongering or fearmongering, like media portrays the world, is wrong. Alternative media is trying to get out some things that is needed for a change in the collective reality. And mainstream media either reports on it to say it's fake, or they don't report on it. I actually believe that a lot of personnel in media don't report on different stuff so that it won't get blown out of proportion. Like if we started to like believing, or if we started to report on every single storm there was all over the world and all the earthquakes and stuff that have been happening, then they would probably be worse than they are. Right now, I'm currently trying to delete my old beliefs of some ideas that I've had for a very long time, so that they will not be part of the collective reality. Maybe it's too late, who knows? Maybe it's meant to happen because it's scripted to happen, who knows? Maybe it's scripted to happen because it's history and we can't do anything about it. And that is why we have a destiny. Everyone have their own destiny, their path that they need to walk on, or need to. They have their free will to do so or not do so. It's not like it's a godless society. God is a good thing. It's light in the darkness. It's when we talk about duality and stuff like that, it's gonna be there's a lot of things that are nice. I should have stopped this video a long time ago, but kind of found myself in a trance of talking. So I don't know, this feels kind of like the Matrix videos that were made actually had some fictional truth to it. What I'm saying is not the same as Matrix. Matrix is a part of the collective consciousness, or the higher consciousness knowing. So the collective consciousness is the combination of now. So you have your higher self and you have your higher self, and then we have the collective consciousness, which is the bridge between the kind of balance between everyone's, what is that called? Common sense, common knowledge. Yeah. Well, that's all for me right now, and I hope you liked the video. If you didn't like it, well, dislike it. It's free will. It's all up to you. One more thing, I kind of missed that, but karma. Read into it, or the golden rule, or anything like that, cause we're all bound by it. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to my monotone voice and stuff like that, but yeah, there's more to tell. I will tell eventually. So subscribe. I don't know if I want to tell you to push that notification bell, because for myself, I don't really like when technology tells me when to do stuff, and that is how I interpret the bell. So if you subscribe and you're drawn to my videos, just watch. Till next